at Andrew Jackson's Hermitage in Nashville, Tennessee, which is set to take place on Wednesday, May the 18th. One of the primary fundraising events benefiting the foundation's education programs and reservation projects will return after a 2-year COVID hiatus. That is where our next guest will be featured for her inside look at the White House.
Yeah, joining us now is the keynote speaker at Andrew Jackson's Hermitage in Nashville and author of Entertaining at the White House, Decades of Presidential Traditions, White House historian Jennifer Pickens. Jennifer, welcome to Wake Up America.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I love your background, by the way. Jennifer, what's the significance of the annual spring outing and what can guests expect later this month?
Well, I could not be more excited and honored to be the keynote for this wonderful tradition in Nashville, Tennessee. And it is one of the largest and oldest presidential sites in our country. And so it's really important that we can be there to gather and support it. And Americans honestly are meant to gather. And so I think we're really excited about being together and to get to talk about some of these wonderful White House traditions over the decades.
Jennifer, those are not copies of the White House china, or as Michael Douglas in The American President calls them, the dish room. That's not what that is, right?
The China room. The China room.
The China room. What do you make of what's going on, just as from a historical perspective, about what's going on, I mean, with our country right now, and this building that has been there for every single president after the War of 1812, and just historically, put into context, you know, we had this big breaking news at the Supreme Court on Monday night. What do you make of all this?
I think it's really important that we do start having a return to normalcy. And I like the way you talked about the building. The White House is the people's house. And so I think it's really important that the Bidens did have this Easter egg role. And we really need to get back to having people inside the people's house. We need people across the country going to these wonderful presidential sites like the Hermitage to remind us of our nation's roots and where we come from and why so much of our history is important and the traditions of what, you know, happened. The Supreme Court cannot be underestimated. People are trying to undermine our democracy, and they shouldn't be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's obviously extremely important to hear these stories. Talk to us about something I'm interested in, is how former President Trump changed entertaining at the White House.
They did. And, you know, that is one thing I am really excited to speak with the guests at the Hermitage about, is this wonderful tradition of entertaining at the White House. And, you know, it was really First Lady Jackie Kennedy that created the White House to be this wonderful stage for our country. And then the next First Lady that I really want to highlight quite a bit is First Lady Nancy Reagan. She took this idea that the Kennedys had of making the White House a stage and for countries across the world to come and be honored at the White House. And she brought it to this wonderful new level of sophistication where they would have these fantastic, small, intimate dinners where people could get things done. And, you know, a lot of those protocols and other things have been stripped away by the Carter administration. And First Lady Nancy Reagan brought everything to this wonderful new level that we had not seen. And I think First Lady Melania Trump did the same thing. They were small dinners. They would all fit inside the White House. They would fit in the state dining room. And the greatest thing I think they did was highlight our United States military at all the events, whether it was Halloween, you know, the Easter egg roll. She would have the United States military there as the entertainment. And I think one of the most fascinating, wonderful, hands down, it'll be one for the ages, was her last state dinner in honor of Australia. It was in the Rose Garden of the White House. It was absolutely breathtaking. And she had every branch of the United States military there performing. It was the largest military musical performance at a White House state dinner.
Right.
And literally the guests were surrounded by music and these soaring voices. It was surrounding them on the sides. And the United States Marine Band, the president's own, was literally on top of the Oval Office performing from the roof.
Jennifer, you got
wonderful historic figures like Henry Kissinger was brought to tears.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So we've got about 30 seconds left. Do the American people want the pomp and circumstance? I think they do. Every time I see the White House, it takes my breath away. Still, do the American people feel that way, do you think?
Absolutely. It is the people's house, period. And they do. They want to see it. It is our pride. It is a joy. And not only do Americans want to see it, I can tell you when you go abroad and you go to other countries and you hear about other elected officials or monarchs, whatever their ruling government is, they want to see the pictures. They want to hear about their country being honored by the White House.
It's
it was,
so true.
you know, Colin Powell said is the greatest honor we can bestow on any other country is an invitation.
Also, the greatest home court advantage in the modern world is Washington, D.C.
Absolutely.
and the
it was
address.
designed to be so. You know your history.
Yes.
He does, yes. All right, Jennifer Pickens, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. Up next, the leaked documents of the Supreme Court draft opinion has polarized